welcome. Anyone here from the DEA or? I used to start my speech looking for Jeff Sessions to come in so that everybody could meet him, but that was a while ago. Does anyone know what Mr. Sessions is doing now? Driving a taxi in Sausalito or someplace? Yes, that's what ex-politicians do. And some of them are doing pretty well. Our friend Bill Weld from Massachusetts has been a great advocate. Okay, well, we have 20 minutes. You started me already, okay. So my name is Bob Fireman. I am the CEO of Marimed Incorporated. We are a public company trading on the OTCQX under the symbol Mr. Med, MRMD. We're a premier THC company, and we've just made some amazing inroads into the CBD hemp space with a major investment we made in Kentucky in what we think will be the industry leader in the production of CBD in a company called Gencana. Basically, let's see what we got here. We've been around, our team's been around over a decade. Is this coming out okay? And that's pretty good for this space. So we're like old relics. We've been in the industry over 10 years, 12 years in certain states. We watched the progression of the industry come from fighting for medical licenses to now the onslaught of adults. We've seen the Farm Bill come and make CBD and hemp somewhat legal, but not completely legal. And the theme of what my team has been is about health and wellness. And I always start with this slide that says cannabis has the power to transform human health and wellness. And so before I try to tell you why we're probably the most undervalued stock for investment in the industry, I think we should talk a little bit about health, because at the end of the day, you know, all the folklore about how cannabis is helping people with all sorts of anxiety and nausea and MS and Parkinson's. And, you know, in our Rhode Island facility, we have 50 mothers with epileptic children that come and bring their kids with their pediatric oncologist standing by. And believe me, when you make these precision dose products, they better be consistent, they better be the same, or that mother's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. I didn't mean that, Abigail, sorry. So it's really about helping people, and you know, all the progression across the states is important. So our focus of what we do is health and wellness. We just took on a lady that taught at Harvard Medical School in alternative medicine. We've just taken on from Dr. Zurbikas from the University of Houston in Lithuania, who's putting together a scientific board of advisors. We are working with some of the hospitals in Boston now about clinical trials and research. We hope to announce something soon on irritable bowel syndrome and how cannabis can help people with that sort of illness and Crohn's. I think it's, you know, all the folklore of people getting relief needs to be put into peer-reviewed quality medical research so that this country can now be the leader in the cannabis space in helping people. So we think we're at the forefront of science, innovation, health, and we like to, we'll be coming out with some announcements lately. And, you know, we're working with all the other cannabis companies and certain trade associations to make that more professional and more widespread. Okay. So basically, who are we? We're a multi-state operator that has developed, operates, and manages some of the finest cannabis facilities in 6 states. We're Boston-based and have developed on the East Coast a whole series of things from seed to sale operations. We've developed, I think, over 350,000 square feet of cannabis facilities, and we provide some of the best products, precision dose products, best practices in cultivation, labs, kitchens, infused products, and the like. Our goal was to consolidate. I think the biggest challenge we've had as we talk to investors here and other places is we built this business when you had to apply for these competitive licenses and they were mostly not-for-profit. And some part of the confusion was owning stock in a stockless, not-for-profit state company. You had to work through the workarounds that started in California 25 years ago with municipal benefits. If the state said, we're going to allow medical, but we don't want those pot guys to make so much money, so we'll call them not-for-profits. As we evolved, we kept that structure and we raised money, and it wasn't until May of 17 that we re-put all our cannabis companies into Marimed, Inc., and took over the PubCo. And since then, we've raised capital through a variety of selling stock and debt and conversion debt. And we've built out quite an operation. So we think that our operations now, but the key to the messaging is we just hired some new IR, and we want to tell the world that we're not just 50 people in a consulting real estate industry business that's doing $12 million last year, but we're really going to consolidate the businesses that we developed. We're really probably 400 people in 6 states doing in excess of $100 million and growing. And that's the challenge of our industry. We're a full seed-to-sale, multi-state operator. And I guess we were a multi-state operator before the Canadian Stock Exchange labeled people multi-state operators. So we're a little different than the other MSOs in that we, instead of raising capital and buying businesses, we basically built them from the ground up. We won the licenses, we put our key people in there, we built best practices, standard operating procedures, and we try to share that knowledge and experience to provide excellence to the patients. And so whether you call them medical or now adult use, we consider cannabis for the people that need it for medical relief. It doesn't matter if it's adult or if it's medical. The only thing that's important is taxes at that point. So our plan, we've developed we have 12 licenses, 6 states. We're industry leader in development. We're improving health and wellness. We're at the forefront of science and innovation. And now we're the leader in CBD and hemp with our partner in Kentucky, Gencana. So right now we're in the process of consolidating these businesses, expanding our brands, and continue to be an industry leader in science and in innovation. We've got a core team that's been together over almost 10 years. And we've just added Dr. Zerbitis. We asked John Ryder, who was one of the founders of Monster.com, who came in to help us with as our Chief Innovation and Information Officer. I've mentioned Dr. Eva Selhub. This woman has 23 articles and books, and she's really like a leader. She lectures all over the world, and we're happy to have her. We've talked about Operation Excellence, seed to sale. We've got experts in genetics, in lab, in extraction, in precision dosing, in merchandising, packaging. Our team does it all, and we think we do it as well as anybody in the industry. We're expanding into a national footprint. These are the 6 states we're in. Kentucky, obviously, and our new hemp partner, and we're moving into additional states as we roll them all up. Our facilities are, perfectly compliant. They're all GMP certified for our kitchens, our labs. Our original project in Rhode Island is It's seed to sale. It's on one lot. It's medical. We have 17,000 medical patients. We almost do 15 to 2,000 transactions a day. And it's one of the places that people come and think it's a top 5 in the United States. Hemp. We saw this coming. Last November, we invested $30 million in a convertible debenture, which in February we turned into equity in Gincana. Dr. Z, we call him, came with his own brand of Florence, which is a brand of health and beauty CBD products that he launched in Berlin 2 years ago. We're now adding a whole series of products. Because of our partnership with Gincana, we have the best source of supply, and we've just believed that the custody chain of compliance is large. I mean, Gincana sort of is white label, so we formed a subsidiary called Marimed Hemp, which is separated from our THC cannabis business and takes advantage of the source of supply. Gincana is the compliant producer behind a lot of the bigger name companies that buy their products and put their label on it, and what you see in most of the supermarkets and drug chain stores. Those products are being designed and developed in Kentucky by our partner. We've just made an announcement of going with distribution of these end-aisle displays in C-stores on the East Coast. We hope to be in 10,000 stores, selling a variety of CBD products, both on the East Coast and transporting across the country. This multi-approach platform tied to one of our partners, Sprout, that's an educational portal. People need to be educated. People really don't know what is this CBD and why is everyone buying it. It sort of happened so fast that I think the industry got caught by surprise, and everyone's running in and buying CBD because a lot of people don't know. I think some of the research that's being done, you know, now a lot of the big name celebrities are putting their names on things, but at the ultimate, what's in the bottle is going to matter. How does this help me from anti-anxiety, healing, curative, and the like? So we're coming out with some new products. We just created a big harvest of something called CBG, which we'll be announcing shortly, and CBG seems to be a earlier, more powerful, more healthful form of cannabinoid. So we're launching the hemp engine. We've got Gincana working. We're talking to large retailers, and we think that our CBD hemp subsidiary may take on a life of its own. These are some of the brands that we've developed. Our Confusion is very popular with our popcorn and our mints. Our Betty's Eddies is killing it in Maryland, and I think it's with our partner GTI here in Illinois, it's their most exciting and biggest product. We have a deal with the Healer, which is Dustin Zolak, and we merchandise his one-to-one formulations from whole plant presses in Maryland, and we're soon to launch that in Massachusetts. And we're developing a whole line of CBD products, some of our own and some in partnerships with our friends like Tikkun Olam from Israel. Science and innovation we've talked about, but we really believe that this is it. We want to bring more minorities, economically deprived. We want to bring more women into the industry, and we need to create an environment where this becomes more mainstream and more reliable. And as the world heads towards prohibition being over in this state, we want to be the leader in this industry because it's coming and it's helpful. We need to take this from peer review relief. We need to get people both curative and symptom relief, and they need to be educated on really what does this plant do and what do these formulations do. So we're running out of time already. So our current strategy, we're consolidating all our industries, all our business that we built into our single public company, and that should be completed in the real near future. We're going to expand our brands both in the places we are and with partners we created in every state where cannabis is legal. And we're going to be a major player in the CBD hemp business. We, unlike a lot of the other MSOs, we're not over-leveraged. We built our own businesses instead of buying them for large numbers. So we've shown 14 quarters of continued growth. Our revenue is up 7 times as of the second quarter. Our gross profit's up 3 times, and our EBITDA continues to grow. Our assets as we do this have grown from $3 million to almost $130 million, and this doesn't include our ownership in Gincana, who has the comp, some people think, equal to Charlotte's Web in the billions of dollars. We believe our stock is a bargain, plus or minus $1. You know, we've taken the hit like the whole public cannabis industry has. We're on the OTC, which sometimes goes up and down faster than we'd like because of lack of liquidity. But as we compare our stock to other companies like Harvest or Cresco or Ianthem or GTI, if their multiples are up to, in this chart, 13-14%. So our stock at $1 is at 4, which means if we got an industry average of 9, our stock would be 2.5 times what it is today. After we get our consolidation, our stock would be probably 4 times that, and if we could capitalize on our investment in Gincana, some people theorize that our stock would be $5 today as it sits there around $1. We're a great investment, growing platform, early mover, strong management team, great revenue, and we welcome any questions that you have and hope that you invest in our company. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Why do you theorize that your multiples are depressed compared to some of the other peers?
Why do I feel? Because then.
Yeah, like, do you have any reason why you think that you might be getting a lower multiple than some of the other competitors in the market?
We think that there shouldn't be a reason, that the industry standard is. I think somewhat we're on the OTC and they're on the CSE, and they have bigger liquidity. But I mean, as far as earnings and EBITDA and revenue, if you take the standards of everybody else, of our competitors, we're grossly undervalued compared to them.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the Gincana hemp side, and you look at it as a new seed, or how does that fit in?
Well, Gincana, we had the foresight to pick a winner. Last year they grew 900 acres. This year they'll be over 8,000. They're going to grow into one of the largest producers of compliant CBD from hemp in the country. We bought in at a $90 million valuation, and if they get the comp of Charlotte's Web, it will be north of $2 billion. So that investment could mean almost a $500-600 million profit for our company, and maybe larger. And ultimately, if they do $500 million to $1 billion next year, 33% of that goes right to our income statement, which hopefully will be reflected in our stock. Thank you all very much and for the time, and I'm around if anyone has further questions.